Well, thank you, fellas. I know they all thanked you for having us, but to the South Carolina baseball high school coaches, we obviously appreciate everything you guys do. A lot of what we get to do is because of what you guys do. A lot of you guys are a shield to a lot of the things that we don't have to go through, such as parents calling you and the politics of the local communities and stuff like that. A lot of you guys deal with that stuff and create young men that come to us and handle business as young men. And so I know you guys have to go through a lot of things like that we don't. And we appreciate you guys for that and all the teaching that you guys do at every facet of the game. From the things as small as base running to all the way up to hitting and pitching and the big spots. You guys spend hours on hours with young players, all across the state, and helping them develop and get to the next level where we're able to continue that development. So we really appreciate you guys being the first step in that. And as we talk about developing players, I'm going to talk about some infield defense stuff. A lot of what I talk about has just come from my experiences. I was lucky enough to play for minor league at the College of Charleston. Had a great staff while I was there and was able to win quite a bit in my 3 years there, and was lucky enough to go to play for the Cincinnati Reds organization and get to work with some fantastic infield coordinators there, and even work with guys like Barry Larkin and Miguel Cairo, who many of you are familiar with. So a lot of the things that I'd like to say that I invented this stuff, but the game's been around a lot longer than I've been here, and it'll be here a lot longer after I'm gone. So a lot of this stuff just comes directly for them. So if I give you guys one thing today that you're able to take back to your high schools and help develop some of your infielders, then I'll count that as a win. So I'm going to use Coach Rayner as my dummy. He seems to be limbered up, so we'll use him to do some of those things. But before I do that, the way I look at infield defense and the way I was taught infield defense is really to treat it the same way as everything else. Like Coach Gallman talked about base running. Sometimes we overlook that. Sometimes we overlook infield defense because we want to hit. We always. You always hear, and even my dad, I think back to him saying this over and over. He said, well, Blake, if you're going to hit, they're going to find a place for you, But, as true as that is, and, you guys level, if you got a hitter that, is going to hit a few home runs and hit 400, he's going to be in the lineup somewhere. But, to play at the next level and then to play at the level beyond where we're at, it's important to be able to play on both sides of the ball. I hate to see, guys that, I've coached in the past and guys that I played with in the past who were good enough hitters to play pro ball, who you saw, go up against some of the best arms in the country and dominate, and you're like, why does that guy not get his chance? And when you talk to some of these pro scouts, as I'm sure many of you have, he just doesn't have a position. So it's really, really important to find, a guy that a place can stick at the next level. And I really take that upon myself when I talk to our guys to make sure that they, are prepared for the next level. Whether I believe they're going to go to the next level or not, I want to help them prepare for that next level, as I'm sure you guys are. So we'll go into it. The two big things for me is getting a short hop and getting a long top. That's the basis for everything that we do at Francis Marion, and the basis for everything that we focus on. We go to infielders from the first day that we're there. The long hops are easy. Anybody can stand. I can bounce the ball 8 to 10 feet in front of you. It bounces up to your chin. You should be able to catch it if you're going to play at your level and at our level. The one that's tricky that guys tend to be a little bit more timid of is the short hop. So we train for that. If we're going to preach, short hop and long hop, we're going to train our guys for short hops. And so every day, some of the guys from Spartanburg High School came by yesterday and saw us, and I'm sure they saw before we went into our infield routine, what Coach calls tic-tac-toe, where our individual defense, where the outfielders go do their thing, the catchers do their thing, and our infielders do. You'll see our outfielders, religiously, like throwing before they get ready to play, is just doing a short hop sequence. So Coach Rayner, if you'll come up here and be my, if I could teach a PO how to pick it, I could teach anybody how to pick it. But just grab that rub and I'll toss it to you from here. So the short hop sequence is pretty, it's pretty basic. The guys get low, they play low. As you guys know, if you're bending over at the waist, you're losing a lot of visibility. You're not able to see the ball. So we try and make sure that guys are playing low. So guys play low. They're already down in their stance, both feet facing me. And we'll start with it. So we call it 10-10-10. So you do 10 straight short picks right here, right at him, to his right into his glove. And everything's with one hand. And then we'll go over to his forehand. So he'll open up like you were to the backhand. he'll open up more and we'll just go 10. And he's with the guy. And I tell those guys, you're not allowed to stand up the entire time you're doing this. So you'll come to our practice and you'll see guys sitting here just throwing like this, getting knees, and they'll end up missing one on purpose so they can stand up and kind of walk it out a little bit and stretch their knees and bend it down. But you make them stay down. And if I see guys not doing it, then we'll do 90 feet of crab walks. And what crab walks are is you get down in that position, and I'll do this one, I'll bully on this one. But you'll get down in the position and you walk as you go, and the guy's in front of you throwing you short kicks, and you're just flipping it back up to them, doing a crab walk. So we'll do 90 feet of those if I see guys not staying down whenever they're doing those. So we're preaching short hops. They do their 10-10-10s every day religiously as they throw. And then the last one that they do that I really like, and I don't know how I see them, but the guy starts, you get a little bit more distance than normal, and he'll be down in his spot, and the guy just throws it way up in the air, and you have to move your feet to find that short hop. So coach trainer's down in position, I throw him way up, he's going to find that short hop. He knows. But he's going to find that short hop, and he's going to move his feet to get to it. So if I'm doing it and I teach them to do it, we'll throw it way over their head where he's got to really move his feet and get back, and encourage him to do backhands as well, where he'll go and find that short hop and get really good at finding a short hop. I think that we've all had that, shortstop that you coached that was just easy to coach, that just had instincts, and he made it look easy every single time. And he may not have had the best hands ever, but he just made everything look easy. And I believe that a lot of those guys, they just always seem to find the long hop. They always seem to find the short hop. A lot of times guys will use that bad hop as a crutch, where, wow, it was a bad hop on that one. I was like, well, maybe you should have moved your feet and gotten a better hop out of it, So I refuse to let our guys say that. That's a big one for me. They know that. Don't come to me and say it's a bad hop. If I'm hitting the fungo and I see it's a bad hop, I'll say something to you like, hey, don't worry about it. I know that was a tough hop right there. But don't come to the dugout and say, oh, I missed that because of that ledge right there. Well, you knew that ledge was there. You should have moved your feet and created a better hop for yourself. So those are the base, those few right there. And if a guy's struggling, and if in BP I'm seeing a guy kicking around, if Coach Gallman's throwing, I'll go over there and get him behind the screen, and we'll do that sweep once again, just to kind of reset everything. It may be like a guy going and hitting off a tee from a hitter's perspective. It's the same thing with infield. That's the basis for everything that we do. As we move on from that, we'll move into a charge drill. Coach, you can kind of see if you want. I'll use you again here in a minute, maybe. So we'll go into a charge drill, and the charge drill basically is like when you're hitting slow rollers, but instead of having every guy in his position and making throws in the charge drill, we do this really, really early on. We'll just have guys all at shortstop and third base. Okay, so my second basemen are over there, my first baseman are over there, left-handed and everything. So they're very uncomfortable being over there, especially my lefty first baseman. But those guys are charging after everything, okay? And what we're doing is we're trying to build those instincts from those great shortstops that we have, and just hitting them choppers and making them come get everything. Find that short hop, find that long hop, and trusting yourself and trusting your instincts to do it. I know Coach Gilmore, every camp that I go to at Coastal, he loves watching guys come in and charge and make that play. And you can tell a lot about an infielder on how he makes that play. If he gets it to the left side, if he's able to throw on the run. And I think throwing on the run is really important, and we'll get to that. But, being able to come and find that correct hop and charge the ball and be comfortable moving is going to help you build those instincts, We talk about guys that end up sitting back, and they're the guys that end up getting that in-between hop where they didn't move their feet and they didn't, go get that short hop or take a half step back to get that long hop, and they get eaten up. We want to avoid as many, in-between hops as we possibly can. And I think that using that charge drill, just having everybody over there, rapid fire, the pressure's on, find the short hop, find the long hop, and just test them to go do it. Regardless of how the ball's hit, come and get it. Just come and get it. We're going to encourage failure. I know a lot of, and the game's always been like this, is everything's competition based when it comes down to it. We're playing a game and we're trying to compete. And we want our guys to fail in practice. And if you put this charge drill in where you're hitting choppers and you're telling them to come in as hard as they can, running full speed, trying to find that short hop and long hop, they're going to fail. Some of the guys will be really quick and athletic and be able to get there and get that short hop, but a lot of times you'll have guys that aren't able to do it. They're just going to have trouble on the run. They're going to have trouble, finding that hop and reading those hops. The guys that are really good at it, right off the bat, they know whether they're going to get a short hop or long hop, and they know which step they're going to get it on. But not everybody's like that, but this is going to help those guys train for it. And if they're failing, you're doing something right, in my mind, because you're encouraging them to push it and encouraging them to do it the right way and play after that short hop or long hop. And if they struggle with it, they're learning. We're using failure as our learning. We can sit and hit fungos and let guys stay deep, all day long, and a lot of times they're going to make that play, and you're going to be really happy because they're getting the repetition in, but are you really challenging them every day? And I think that that's a great thing for the charge drill. And the other really important thing with the charge drill is making sure that they're catching on their left side, okay? That's another reason why we have them all at short and third, because you are thinking about making that throw, okay? If you're catching the ball on your right side as a right-handed player, and then you got to throw it across the infield, you're going to have to get a lot on it. You're probably going to have to take 2 or 3 hops to do it. So we want them working with one hand, working on the left side of their body so they can be in rhythm and making a throw to first base. And just challenging, again, encouraging failure. And then another thing, like I showed you with the crab walks, I went a little early on those, is I want my guys to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm sure that's a cliche that you guys have probably used once or tired of hearing from a coach telling it to you. But I mean, it's as good as gold. You want to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So having guys down, having guys doing those crab walks, and again practicing those short hops or long hops, making that your identity for your infielders is what we have done. And then I'll move into the other big part of infield defense and the other drills we do, and it's really focusing on athleticism. And I don't mean athleticism in tense of a vertical or a 60. One of my quotes I say all the time is athleticism is much more than a 60, which I'm sure you guys all know. You may have that player that runs the 7.4, 7.5, but is the best middle infielder on your team or takes perfect routes in the outfield. And so coach calls it playing in space. And a few of the different things we do with that. One is on top of that charge drill, we make it into slow rollers where you usually do 1 or 2 at the end of IO or whatever it is, but we'll make a whole drill out of it where it's just slow roller practice. We'll spend 20 minutes just hitting slow rollers, just like the charge drill, where you have to throw on the run, catch it on the left side with one hand, and then making that throw to first, and just helping them feel that out as much as they can. Trying to have them catch it and then be able to throw it on the next step. The way I teach that is just taking your left foot to the ball. So if I'm taking, I'll step here on this one. So if I'm taking my left foot to the ball as an infielder on a charge or a charge drill or slow roller drill, I'm taking my left foot with one hand, and so that way I'm here and then coming up, and on the next throw I'm able to go to my right foot and make a throw on the run. So that's how I teach it. A lot of our guys want to go here with 2 hands and then take a couple steps and do it. I just think it's quicker. If you go, take your left foot right to the ball where that short hop is, you're going to get it. You're going to catch it right on the short hop, boom. Even when you go with 2 hands, and then the next throw or the next step, you can make your throw. And we practice that. Guys struggle with it early, but the more you do it, the better it is. And we'll put them on the clock. The guys that don't believe it, we'll put them on the clock, and I'll be like, all right, catch it on your right side and go as quick as you can, and then you slow it down and go where you do it on the very next step, and you'll be quicker. Even if you can't get quite as much on the throw, just getting it out that half second quicker makes a big difference. So that's a big one that we use. And then this one's my Barry Larkin special. He called these figure eights. And figure eights are tough. It's easier for us because we have multiple second basemen and shortstops. So if you guys overlap maybe with JV and varsity, you can implement this because you're going to need at least a few more. But again, we bring our third baseman and first baseman in on this, and we put one of the first basemen about 60 feet towards first base. So imagine me at second base. Coach Ray, let me get you again. So we'll say second base is in the middle here. I'm the second baseman, and Coach Ray is the shortstop. And we'll have 2 fungo guys on the back of the mound. And all the guys are at shortstop and second base. And basically the fungos are just alternating. So you got, we'll start usually hitting to the shortstop, so the second baseman will be here at second. And so one fungo will hit, Coach Rayner will make a play, throw it to me, I turn 2, I go to the back of this line. Right after you catch it, you go to second base, and the other fungo has now hit one to the second baseman. The second baseman catches, flips it to the shortstop makes it throw to first, and now he becomes the man at second base. We ran this one yesterday, so the Spartanburg guys got to see this one in action. And a lot of times the guys will get out there and they really struggle. They're kicking balls because they're moving quick. They're being inaccurate because there's so much going on around the bag. But it is absolute chaos, and I absolutely love it. Because it makes the guys really communicate. I tell them it should sound like basketball practice. You should be calling for screens and pick, screen, pass. I mean, it should be stuff like that, like I'm going inside, I'm going outside, flip. You should be communicating at all times. So I think it builds good chemistry with your infielders. But it is a little bit of a confusing drill, so I'll go over it one more time. So the second baseman would be starting here. You'd have a line of second baseman and a line of shortstops. You have two alternating fungos. So you start, hit one of the shortstop fields it, flips it, I turn two, then there would be a guy hit a ball to the second baseman. So the second baseman would be here, another guy would step on from in-line, he would now flip to Coach Rayner. And then the next one would be coming from shortstop. So the second baseman's here, he throws it 90 feet. And our goal every time we do this is 100. So we try and get 100 in a row clean. And the fungos aren't hit really hard, they're hitting soft. And every time we are having a rough day, I'm like, would you guys be 100 from 100 if I was taking 5 seconds between each fungo? And they would say, absolutely. Because you're hitting a soft fungo, you're usually hitting it close to the bag where it's in flip range, but you're really making the guys work, you're really making the guys communicate, and you're making them be accurate and consistent around the bag. And one of the other things that you'll hear me say 100 times when we're going through this is I'll say chest to chest. Pecho y pecho is what Barry used to say when you're working with some of the Dominican guys and Puerto Rican guys, is facing chest to chest. So if second base is up here again, I'm just going to keep hopping up and down, I'll hold on. So if my shortstop is here and it's a ball hit up the middle, my chest is going to face him at all times. If it's more of a slow roller, that guy's got to make a really tough flip. My chest is facing him. If it's hit to the third baseman, my chest is facing him. It's the same thing with our second baseman. Or with our shortstop, wherever it's hit on this side of the field, my chest is wherever it is. I got to give him a good target. I know a lot of times, we start to cheat a little bit where we're going to go ahead and face first and we're going to catch it like this just so we can get it out quicker. You'll see guys starting to cheat, but that's just not consistent. Guys are already trying to decipher, they're going to come across the bag, or they want to stay back, or they want to, step through, or they want to do a jump throw, trying to predetermine what that guy's going to do, but you don't really know what that guy's going to do. So I preach chest to chest at all times. You want to face him, and it's your job as the guy who's turning the double play to be in a position, an athletic position, where you can catch and throw, not predetermine what you think that guy's going to do. If he throws high, you're chest to chest, you can step here and then step back across and throw. If he puts it on a platter for you, yeah, you can absolutely step through and do it, but we all know that that's not always going to happen at our level, and I'm sure at you guys' level, where the guy's not going to be perfect and make that perfect feed. So that's the one thing I say through that figure eight the entire time. And then the last thing with the athleticism thing, and a way I like to challenge our guys, is making them throw by taking one hop. So again, this is really for like the left side of the infield. A lot of times you'll have a shortstop who likes to catch it, like guys that stay back, and he'll want to take 3 or 4 hops before he throws, okay? I like to make our guys in BP, and when we take our ground balls, to catch and throw all in one motion. So everything, the same that we were talking about with taking your left foot, it's the same thing on a normal ground ball where I come in, I catch it on my left side, and then I take one step and throw. And again, I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how hard the throw is. You can lob it over there, you can go 30 feet in the air as long as it's an accurate throw. But that's the big thing for us, is I want guys to be in a good position to throw, to catch and then make a good strong throw. If you don't put yourself in a good position to throw, where you're catching it on your left side, where you're down on your legs, and you can go ahead and start creating or gaining ground and creating momentum to where you can make a strong throw to the first baseman, then you're in a bad position and you're not going to be able to do this drill. Your throws, you're not going to get your hips all the way around. Your throws are going to be really sailing on you. We had a third baseman who's newly at third right now, and the first time we do this, his ball, it looks like he's throwing the nastiest two-seam in the country. Maybe we should try him on the mound, because he's getting here and his hips are open, and he's trying to get it out so quick, and it's just sailing like the Cam Newton pass where he misses high because he's sitting on his back leg. So that's one that I really, really like, that I think it forces guys to get in a good position where they catch it on their left side, and then they make a good strong throw. So those are my 5 or 6 drills. Any of you guys have any questions on any of those? Or yes, sir.
You were good at this. Go over what you're thinking as a second baseman on a double play ball to the left side. That's your turn. Kind of what were you thinking about your feet and what have you on a couple different ground balls to the left side on the double play ball?
So my thing was double play depth for me is always where you can make a flip from. Okay, so I tell my guys, wherever you can make a flip from, that's your double play depth. And for some guys, they can get a little bit more. Some guys, they have to be really, really close. But in doing that, of any ball that's hit to the other side of the field, first off, you should be able to get there and then be stagnant and be able to be standing there before the ball comes. I think if you're getting there and then never have a chance to stop, I think you're too far away. So first off, you have to give something up to be in double play depth. If you want to turn a lot of double plays, you may have to give up, 3 more feet to get closer to second base. But for me, I would put my left foot on second base as a second baseman, and it would stay there. I wouldn't do the choppy feet or keep my feet moving. I'm putting my left foot there, and I'm chest to chest. I'm chest to chest, and then everything from that point is really determined on the feed. So I'm getting my guys in an athletic position. They're in their linebacker, their football defensive position. Their foot is on second base, and then wherever the throw is, it determines. Now, obviously, my shortstops know I want to flip through so I can step through, get on my foot and take a strong throw by stepping through. But if not, if he flips one out here, I'm chest to chest and he's back here, I can easily just take a step and throw. But I just think that puts you in a position where no matter where you're at, no matter what the feed is, you can take a step and throw. Whether it's coming through, he throws it high, boom, I step back. One of my guys came to me yesterday. He's like, well, what if the throw's way out here? If the throw's way out here, you literally just go boom, and then you step on that back foot and throw. So I think a lot of that has to do with setup. I think a lot of times we get to where we don't want to give up that hitting the 4 hole or hitting the 6 hole, and I get that. I mean, you hate giving up the ground balls through the holes. But if you want to turn a lot of double plays and have momentum swings, like the coach said, I think you have to give something up, and playing a little bit closer, I think, is going to help you do that. Hopefully that answered your question. Yes, sir.
What are some other things that y'all do, or maybe you have seen to encourage more competition amongst the infielders?
Yeah, that's a good question. The figure 8 thing is very competitive, but like within themselves, it's very like team oriented because you're going to 100, and we'll bet 50 push-ups on it. Like if you guys get to 100, I'll do 50. If you guys don't get it, then you got to do 50. So that's kind of like me versus them, and they enjoy that. But we do the double play thing. I think that as live as you can get is game-like as you can get is the most challenging and the most healthy way to teach anything, whether it be hitting a defense. When we hit off of a machine or you get to hit in your live pins off of pitching, I think that's the best way to prepare hitting-wise, and I think it's the same when you're on defense. So we like to occasionally bring our outfielders in during our sessions, and I'll front toss to the outfielders and say, hit the ball on the ground as hard as you can and make those guys miss it. So then it kind of becomes an outfielders versus infielders thing where they're hitting ground balls as hard as they can at our infielders off of my front toss. And they're talking a little shit, and the infielders are talking a little shit, excuse my language, where they're trying to get on each other, like, oh yeah, too hot. That's one thing I like is like, well, you hear a guy yell too hot when he hits a ball, and a guy can't handle it. So I think that's a really healthy competition. And then the last thing we do is I'll a lot of times just get a pitcher to come side flip me when we're doing infield work. And so I'm hitting him as hard as I can, and we'll have another pitcher there on stopwatch. And for us, a good runner, not a great runner, a good runner, about 4.2, 4.3 down the line. So every time the ball's hit, he clicks the watch. If you turn 2 and under 4.2 or 4.3, he's out or he's safe. He just yells it out. And so that helps them, I guess, speed their game clock up. And then the pitchers will kind of be around there, kind of, getting them going a little bit too, getting them riled up. And, I'm kind of doing the same thing, yelling out, safe and out. And then, a really good runner for us is like a 4.0, 3.9, 4.0. So, toward the end of that, if they start looking clean between 4.3 range, we'll move it to 3.9, 4.0 and really make them work. And again, they're going to fail a lot when they do that. But I think it just encourages game speed. And then when the games actually start and those runners are 4.5s and 4.6s, then it helps them slow the game down where they don't feel like they're moving a mile an hour or 100 miles an hour on open day. Everything's going quicker than it should be. Any other questions?
When you do your figure 8 drill, what do you typically do with your third baseman during that period?
Third basemen are there. They're in. Third baseman and first baseman. Even my left-handed first baseman. You know, and it's awkward, you know, a first baseman coming in there and having to do weird throws. But again, I want, you know, I tell all our guys the day they show up, I said, in my mind right now, everybody standing here is a shortstop. You know, I want you guys to think like shortstops. I want you guys to think like, you know, athletes do. You know, I want you to be able to play in space. So our third baseman and first baseman, typically we'll have one first baseman be the catch guy about 60 feet because I don't want to kill their arms throwing 90 feet during that drill because it is a lot of throwing. And then we'll rotate when we run out of balls, usually shift another first baseman over there and he comes in and joins. So yeah, third basemans are in on that. And I think that they really benefit from that. I think that, you know, being around the middle of the infield, learning to work around the bag, you have to have good footwork. So I think it breeds nothing but success, and it's challenging. Those are usually the guys when you first start. The first baseman and third baseman are usually the ones that are killing the streaks, you know, where their second time through, they may flip it and then just run to the other line because they're not used to going to second base. So it makes them focus, it makes them lock in, and then it also makes them be athletic and move in space. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
One thing that we see a lot with our young guys especially is their arm ankles are kind of inconsistent, things like that. They want to stay up here a lot more, or drop a little bit too far down. You know, I think good drills and things that y'all kind of practice on, or cues that maybe you kind of hammer with them to stay in good arm angles.
Yeah, that's a good question. The one that for me, especially when you're turning two, is we like to catch and throw at the same level. So you may see a lot of guys approach a ball really high, get really low to catch it, stand up really high to throw. And those are usually the guys that throw from straight over top. And making them catch and throw at the same level kind of fixes that for themselves because they won't be able to be accurate throwing from here if they're down low. So, you know, with third baseman turning two, think about me catching it here and then in one hop throwing from here. And it kind of fixes the issue on itself. You know, we have a few guys like that. And then really the slow roller drill kind of does a little bit of that too. It kind of forces them to be athletic. And when you do that at like a repetition pace rather than just doing it one at the end of IO and make them do it over and over, they really kind of have to find that slot for them. And it kind of encourages them to be able to throw from several angles. And another one is the figure eight, you know, because when you're around the bag and you're turning two and you got to be quick, a lot of those third basemen that aren't used to throwing like that, you know, because we catch and throw at the same level. So if a guy gives you a flip low, you got to throw it from low. You know, and again, they're going to fail at it, you know, so you got to be okay with them failing at it. But I think it, you know, kind of makes them do it, makes them try different slots and stuff. But the more uncomfortable places you put them in where they have to do that. But I think the big one is catching and throwing from the same level. And any throwing first, throwing a second, trying to turn two, I think is good for that. Anybody else? All right, good deal. Well, on behalf of Francis Marion, thank you guys so much again for having us out to speak. And like Coach said, we're looking for talented players all the time, so give us a ring.